Hey, welcome back to A Faster Me. This is another video brought to you by Building Block Construction and Sophisticated and Swanky. This is going to be of the San Gabriel River Trail, and this is just another route video, just showing one of our training routes out here in Southern California. So basically, this is a great route for a lot of your long endurance rides. If you're solo, you can do intervals and things like that as well. But we have a group with us out today. Mostly my team of Faster Me, and then a couple friends. Got Mark in front of me there from Go Fast, and a couple other people on the ride. Jack from Big O, and honestly, I can't remember who else is on the ride with us right now. But I'm sure I'll see them throughout this video. But when you have a larger group, it makes it a little harder to do, high intensity training, just because there's a lot of people on this trail. This trail basically starts out, the way we started is from Encanto Park, but it basically goes from the foot of the mountains all the way down to Seal Beach. And it's the way we run it is from Encanto Park to Seal Beach, and it's 36 miles one direction, 72 miles round trip. And we basically use it for our longer endurance rides, mainly zones 1, 2, and 3. There's a couple sections on here where we'll do a little sprint, lead out, things like that. But overall, for most of the 3 to 4 hour ride, it's going to be a long endurance ride. We get some of the guys out here and it gets spicy sometimes, but the reason why I say it's really not good for the high intensity training is, you can see right now we're doing 24 miles per hour, which is not blazing fast or anything, but as you can see, there's joggers. This is on a Sunday, I think, that we did this route, but the weekends get really crowded. You got a lot of guys going both directions, as you can see, and unfortunately, or just reality is, everyone's skill level and comfort level is not the same. So as it gets tight and some of these underpasses and different things like that, you might be okay with riding really close to someone else, but a lot of times, a lot of these recreational riders out here are not really comfortable with that. And I think sometimes people take it for granted of just, doing their own thing. Most of us race, stuff like that. So we probably a little delusional, thinking we're better than we are, but we end up getting closer to people than they're comfortable with, and it spooks that person. Definitely can cause a crash, and you definitely don't want a head-on collision. So for most of my rides, when I invite people out on this loop or whatever, I'm basically going to try to stay zone 2. We got Jack out, Jacko, and a couple other guys out. So yeah, there goes some of our boys right there that we passed, race with and stuff. That was Ricky on the back and James right there. It's a very popular route that, for this route is a very popular trail, especially when you're gonna, like I said, for more type endurance rides, kind of more leisure kickback. We just keep a steady pace really, and just work on our aerobic abilities, a little bit of more endurance. But yeah, James and them, they're out this weekend. I think they're going to take a slightly different route than us, but they jumped on our train right there, and they're going to kind of chill with us and hang out, do some attacks in a little bit, and just kind of have a little fun and make our group from 8 people or whatever it was to 12 or 15, however many we had now. So we're definitely going to run into a few other people that we know on this route. Like I said, it's a pretty popular route. There's a lot of race teams that kind of do this route. Same reason we are. It's one thing too, when you have like newer riders, it's a good spot where you can get them to work on like pace lining, just getting used to drafting, stuff like that at a lower intensity. And again, like I said, most importantly, it's the off season right now, so we'll end up doing this route a lot. I really like it for a long endurance ride and not putting too much stress in the legs. I know a lot of people like to just do long race type rides like all year around, and that's not something I subscribe to. I think just often you can get burnt out, overtrained, builds a lot of fatigue in your legs, and I think it's good sometimes to just get a little bit lower intensity ride in you, and just a long steady state ride like we're doing today. I think also that's what's great about the route is it gives you a chance to do a little bit more steady state training. Southern California is really congested. a lot of stop and go, a lot of, stop sign to stop sign or street light to street light. And this is one of our few areas, other than being in the mountains, where you can just really ride for, 2 hours flat or whatever without really making too many stops or any stops sometimes. So as you can see, James, that was James that went up. He went up to chat with Jack at the front up there. Like I said, Jack usually likes to push the pace a little bit, so we let him pull a little bit while we're sitting in the draft. A lot of times we can still stay in zone 2 or 3. He had it pretty hot this route. Some of it I don't have on the video, just makes it too long. But he had it pretty hot at times, and a lot of times we weren't able to stay in these low intensity zones or whatever in the draft even. But sometimes we have to tell him to calm down a little bit so he'll slow down the pace. Like I said, this isn't a very intentional ride here that we're purposely trying to ride in zone 2 for a good 3 hours of it at least. The route also has been cleaned up a lot. I still recommend that people ride it in small groups at least, not too much solo. It's not like a really dangerous route or anything, but every once in a while stuff does happen. Sometimes there's a lot of shady characters on the route that people have been known to be knocked off their bikes or had their bikes stolen, stuff like that. I've known a couple people that have gotten assaulted on this route and other routes, the LA River Trail, I forgot what the other one's called, but the Orange County River Trail. It kind of goes between Riverside and Orange County. But all of these river trails, they have some shadiness to them. And when you're in a group, it's usually fine. But every once in a while, riding solo, you just never know what you run into. So I definitely recommend riding it in a group most of the time, riding it in the daytime, not too much early morning or late night. But overall, it's a great route. It's not really that dangerous, like I said. Sometimes it gets overwhelmed with like homeless encampments, but lately they've been cleaning a lot of that up. So this is a pretty good pace here that Jack's just pulling right now, and we're all happy to let him let him roll off the front. We're holding 24 miles per hour going down, and I can't even remember. I think we made it to 36 miles in like an hour and 40 minutes maybe or so. Can't remember what we held. Probably about 22 miles per hour going down, something like that. But yeah, that's a pretty good pace. Coming back's not as easy. It's always a little bit of headwind later in the day. It's not really, I guess it's slightly uphill because we're going back towards the mountains, but there's really no elevation in this route whatsoever. I think the entire ride is like 500 feet of elevation out of 72 miles. So it's really as flat as you can get it for the most part. There's a couple little humps and bridges, stuff like that you will cross over. But yeah, it's almost bone flat. And when you look at it on the Strava profile, it looks kind of like a bowl. Looks like you're going downhill both ways, which obviously you're not going to go too far below sea level. But yeah, that's what it looks like on Strava. It looks like a little bowl, like it's downhill from the start, uphill at the beach, and then back downhill when you're leaving the beach, which is kind of weird. So this route also goes through, or will pass by El Dorado Park, which a lot of the races, I don't know if Bahati runs those races. I know Sharon and Bahati like kind of head them up a little bit, but El Dorado races, which are on Tuesday night, I think they had the last one actually this past weekend, was maybe one of the all club rides on Saturday, all club races, sorry, on Saturday. And they have that whole race series going on Tuesday nights here. So the park's going to be up here to the left if we haven't passed it already. So like I said, this is a great route, but you'll see definitely some weird things. Not only from, some of the people that are pretty creative that kind of live down here in the riverbed, but you'll see football games going on inside the riverbed. I've seen that before. You see a lot of people training, just running up and down the hills. I've seen boxing going on. Yeah, so this is El Dorado here to the left. And that's, like I said, that's where some of the races are there. Just usually call it Eldo, the Eldo race series on Tuesdays. But yeah, it's pretty calm today. From where we're at, we're only probably a few more miles from the beach. I don't know how many miles. We're probably still 10 miles or something from the beach, something like that. But maybe a little less. But as you get closer to the beach, it gets more congested. There's a bridge up here that we're going to pass. Once you pass that bridge, it gets really congested. And you just got to really be careful not to be too aggressive trying to pass people, stuff like that. Yeah, Jack's putting in a pretty long pull here, pretty good effort because we, I haven't seen anyone rotate through yet.
You shifted just a little early, so it puts a lot of tension in the legs.
And that's Mark in front of me there. Like I said, Mark rides for Go Fast. Had a pretty good year racing this year.
A tad more before you shift.
Yeah, so the main thing on this course, like I said, is other than the obstacles, as you can see, like we're passing someone now, I would say just be careful of, like I said, skill levels. And then the only I already said there's no elevation change or anything really. It's pretty flat, but it does get windy. Obviously right now it's kind of cool. It's only 72, but it gets windy and it can get hot as well. As you get to the beach, the good thing is like it's always cooler going towards the beach, and it gets pretty hot on the way back. I've actually bonked on this ride probably like 2 or 3 times, not because it's so hard, but again, riding steady state, it's not anything so big, but you're kind of like Zwift. You ride Zwift even if you do a zone 2 ride or something, and everybody's like, well, Zwift seems so much harder because you're just constantly pedaling. Well, this is outdoors, and it's kind of like the same way. Like, as you can see, we're just steady riding. There's no stop signs, no street lights, none of that. So you can, even at the low intensities, you can burn a little bit more energy than you think. And on the way back, sometimes it gets you, especially since on the way back, it's usually a headwind. There's some ramps, like these little ramps. And see, that's what I was talking about there. You see Mark's going by, and Mark's fine. He's comfortable passing through. The only thing is you don't know how comfortable that person going the other direction is. And it only takes a little panic. And I've seen it before. I've seen it where guys just ran into the dirt and crashed his bike, even though there was a ton of room, but he obviously wasn't comfortable when someone else was passing, and he just panicked and ran into the dirt. So here's the bridge here that I'm talking about. Once we pass this bridge, it does get really congested. Just there's so much traffic from the beach. Yeah, to get really congested on this stretch, there's so much traffic on the beach. But yeah, what I was saying is sometimes you can bonk on the way back if you're not careful, just because the intensity is low. But it's not often, unless you train this way, it's not often that you're doing like 3.5 hours of just straight pedaling the entire time, and it burns a lot more calories and energy than you think, just because the intensity is so low. You kind of feel like you're not doing anything. And then once you hit those rollers at the end, there's a lot of them. I'm talking like 10 miles of rollers, with the little hill. It's just a small hill, but it just stings the legs. It's a small hill of like, I don't know, a 3-second hill, literally, like a 3-second little steep ramp. But there's about 10, 15 of them, 20 of them, I don't know, within the last 10 miles. So you see the guys just kind of dropped Ellen here. She got caught, didn't want to go around the riders. And this is where it gets a little bit spicy. So I'm going to just move to the front and try to pull the group back up. We have a couple newer riders with us as well that's not as strong. And I don't mean strong like physically, but they're just not used to the route. They don't know. One of them's new on a bike to begin with. So been riding for, just maybe a year or so, and is going to start racing this year. So I'm going to just try to stay with the group and slowly pull them back up. But I think it's going to get a little spicy, and some of the guys are going to start, attacking each other, and it just gets a little hot. So it's fun. Like I said, it's a long route. A lot of things you can do on this type of road with your team. But like I said, when you get to high intensity, it just gets a little dangerous. As you can see, there's a lot of people going by. All right, you can see to our right, there's definitely a lot more water. That is ocean water there. That's a lot more water. So we're definitely only a couple miles from the beach, maybe like 2 miles, 3 miles. And that's Chris going by. He didn't give me a heads up or anything. He just kind of flew by. I could jump on him, but he did come by me a little faster than making a pull. So he's just bridging up there.
Riders up.
As you can see, it just gets real sketch here. So I'm more on the side of caution. I don't want to get in a crash. I definitely don't want to head on with someone here. So I'm always going to be a little cautious. And again, I got like 8 people behind me, depending on me to bring them through safely. So I'm not going to go unless multiple people can go through. So, and that's Ricky putting in a dig there. I do accelerate. I was going to jump on his wheel, but when I look back, there's like not no one behind me, but a lot of the group is like not on my wheel. So I'm going to shut it back down and just try to bring the group back. Yeah, see, I look back and they're just not really there. That's one thing about my rides. Like, this is a long ride. It's a 72-mile ride. And like I said, if we come out as a group, I don't leave anyone. So I never drop people or make them have a little panic, especially here, because sometimes if it's high tide, you got to jump off the river, off the trail and go over a bridge. And when we got people with us that don't know the route, stuff like that, I'm never going to leave anybody. I'm always going to stay with the slowest person. It doesn't matter. And for me, it's no big deal. That's just normal when you you invite people to ride, you kind of want to ride with them. A lot of people are like, hey, I don't want to slow you down, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't invite you. If we don't want to ride together, we wouldn't invite people, So I'm glad that they cleaned this up. If you look to the left here, maybe a couple years ago, I mean, all of this stuff was just filled with so many homeless tents and, baskets in the way, stuff like that. We don't go through some of the tunnels. I cut it out. I didn't show it on the video, but there's a lot of tunnels that you have to go under, going under, the city streets. Basically, there's tunnels that you go under, and there's a few of them that we just don't go under because they go downhill pretty steep, and you're doing 30-something miles per hour through those tunnels. There's no lights in there. And every once in a while, there's like a homeless encampment in the tunnels, and there's things you just run into. I've also seen people have head-on collisions in them, so we skip them, and there's like 2 of them that we just won't go in. We go over the top and wait and cross the street. A lot of people think it's no big deal, and it's not on a daily basis, but trust me, the time that you shoot in there and there's a homeless basket in the way, or there's someone coming the other direction and there's no room for you, that's going to be an expensive hospital bill.
Left side.
So yeah, all this to the left, even where the electrical stuff is right there, that used to be some tents in there. And I remember that was like that for years, and we went on like 2 weeks in a row or whatever, and 1 week it was all there, the next week everything was gone. They came like really quick with trucks and all that and just cleared out everyone. So I think it might be this next bridge coming up that sometimes when high tide is in, this bridge gets flooded. I'm sorry, not the bridge, but going under the bridge. I think that gets flooded sometimes when it's high tide, and you'll see it just be washed out, and then an hour later or whatever, whenever tide goes down, which of course I don't know. I'm not really a beach person, but whenever the tide goes down, then it's like clear again. Yeah, it might be over under this underpass here. Yep, that was me just sticking my head up to see if there was water down there or not.
Riders up.
Yeah, so right here it'll be flooded when it's high tide.
Left side.
Actually, it's the next one probably, but
I'll wait for these guys.
either way, you understand what I'm saying. It's like under those bridges, one of them gets flooded when it's high tide, and you have to kind of just exit the trail and go over the top of it.
Left side.
All right, that's James's crew here. I think they're gonna cut left up here at the next bridge. So some of them are slowing down now, kind of regrouping with their squad.
Left side. Rider up. Riders up.
Yeah, that's another thing too. You see the guy waved because obviously I'm letting him know that I'm about to pass him on his left. Definitely communicate if you're ever out here on these trails. I don't know why a lot of people don't like to say anything, but definitely communicate that you're going to be passing someone. Again, I don't want to crash out here. I don't want to crash at all. But I understand it when you're in a race and you crash, it's no big deal and it's expected. But when you're out here just having fun on the river trail, no one wants to go down.
Yeah. I'll wait to the restrooms there.
All right, so that's James there. He's letting us know that they're going to cut out. We're going down to the beach. They thank us for our pools, all that kind of stuff, and they're going to hook left onto this next bridge, and we're going to keep going down to the beach. Yeah, and this is actually the bridge here that I was talking about that gets flooded. I thought it was the one before, but it's actually this one here. So if you see they're putting their hand out, but this gets flooded right here when it's high tide. You can see it's a little wet, and they're gonna flip a U right here and go on the gate that goes up to the city streets. So you got Long Beach to the right. And you got Seal Beach straight ahead. We always just go to Seal Beach. Every once in a while, we'll go down to Long Beach to the light tower and then come back on the other river trail, like on the LA River Trail. But for the most part, we do it out and back on the San Gabriel River Trail. Yeah, so lately it's been really hot, and I'm talking like I'm in Fontana area, and it's been like 109, 110. Any time you go inland, even in the mornings, it's been around 80, 90 in the mornings, and up to about 103, 105, stuff like that. So when you shoot out here towards the beach and you see it's like 72, as you get out here, it starts to feel a little cool. Definitely got to go in the morning because by the time, like I said, when you're going back, it's going to get hot going back into all that heat. Not only are you going towards the heat, you're going a little uphill into the wind. You've been riding for 3 hours already. So, yeah, like I said, people can get in trouble sometimes going on the way back, and I've been there myself.
What a beautiful day.
So yeah, here is pretty much the end of the trail for the most part. You got to go up to the street and cross the street.
Very exciting.
Right here we see the Farmers Race Team, Farmers Insurance Race guys. These are all them coming through here. Like I said, it's a popular route, so you get a lot of guys out here that race with teams and stuff like that, just kind of doing their endurance rides. Some of them will push it a little harder than endurance, but for the most part, that's what it is. Nobody's really killing themselves out there. It's a hot pace sometimes, but it's not really that bad because, like I said, there's so many people, so you can't really push the pace too much safely. And a lot of triathletes use it not only to do their runs, but get on a TT bike and they can do some steady state intervals off and on. A lot of times they'll go 10 minutes on, a couple minutes off, then another 10-minute session or 20-minute session, whatever they're doing or whatever they're getting ready for. So often there would be a lot of people fishing right here. I say a lot, but I really mean like, I don't know, somewhere between like 5 to 10 individuals will be fishing along this side. They opened the restaurant up again. There's a restaurant at the end of this trail right here that was been closed for years, but it's been back open now, I think, for about 2 years maybe. It's pretty good food too. It's biker friendly. You know, they give you a spot where you can put your bikes on the side that's pretty much enclosed.
Whoa.
Not too expensive either. So here's where we'll stop here. We stop at basically at the restaurant and bathroom, mainly the bathrooms here. We'll stop here, fill up our water, and then we'll basically just head back. It's funny, I've been down here, I don't know how many times, and I've never actually walked out there to the water.
I knew there wouldn't be that.
It's a long walk from this spot. Like, it's just a lot of beach, a lot of sand. It's probably about, I don't know, 200 yards, 150 yards to get to the water. All right, so after we fill up there, we just head back. Same thing, just a little bit more pace lining, stuff like that. Like I said, it's a low intensity ride, so that's really all we do is just practice on our pace lining and stay in some pretty low intensity endurance zones. So yeah, if you don't want to do an out and back on this, you could add some miles. You can go either direction. Like I said, that was Long Beach to the right. If we go down, we can go down to like the lighthouse at Long Beach, come back on the LA River Trail, or you can actually go the opposite way also, and come back on the like the Orange County riverbed or river trail. I always forget what the other one, the Orange County one, is called. I don't know if it's actually called the Orange County River Trail or whatever, but that's the one that goes through like Anaheim by Angel Stadium, all that kind of stuff. And I think it actually ends in like San Bernardino, going towards the mountains over there by Hospitality Lane. But yeah, you can loop it back around that direction if you want, and you can make it a century. If you come back on the LA River Trail, it's still only like 80 something miles. It's not a true century, but I think when you come back on the Orange County side and loop it back, it's like 110, 112 miles. And I haven't been on that river trail in like 20 years or so. And like I said, it can be dangerous sometimes. Unfortunately, maybe 2 years ago, a guy got killed for his bike. 3 guys ended up trying to take his bike. I don't know if he resisted or not, but they ended up shooting him, taking his bike, and they got busted like just right around the corner or whatever. So they got busted right away, and obviously it was some pretty cowardly stuff because you got 3 guys trying to take one guy's bike, and they end up having to shoot him. It's like 3-on-1. Couldn't they just, knock him out or something, push him down, whatever? I don't know. But either way it goes, a man lost his life over someone trying to steal a bike.
Yo, that was Billy, right? Yeah.
So we didn't have, I don't think we had too many women on this ride here. That's my wife Ellen in front of me there. I think we only had 2 women on this ride. Maybe it was just Ellen and Audrey Williams, who's one of the newer members on our team. I think they were maybe the only women on this ride.
You can tell there's gonna be
Normally we have, more. We'll have like 3, 4 women. Not a lot more, but we only got about 8 people on this ride, and it's only 2 women. Usually it'd be, I guess, somewhere near half women, half men, being that I run a women's team or a co-ed team, I guess, but focused on sponsoring the more Cat 3 and up women. Yeah, see, some of these little underpasses, as you can see, it always dips down, so you increase your speed, like going through there. Some of them have a little dirt in them, some cardboard boxes, glass, things like that, or the pavement's not the greatest either right there, so sometimes that gets a little sketch. So here's basically the end of the ride. And I'm just showing you this right here. It's one of our sprint sections. It's a steep uphill dam, gets to like 13, 14%. And I just wasn't feeling it today. You can see the team going up to the right up there. Some of them are up a little in front of me. But yeah, this is just like the only elevation on the entire ride really is getting up from this dam here. And this is the, I didn't lost my train of thought because I don't know what dam this is now. Oh, yeah, Santa Fe. I think this is the Santa Fe Dam. Santa Fe Dam has like some campgrounds and stuff. You might think I'm going hard up this hill. I'm not. This is like a full-on sprint where usually you're going to be hitting like, regular sprint watts, 12, 1300 watts or whatever, and then trying to hold as much as you can. I'll usually finish around 800 watts near the top or something. And usually for me, it's like I don't know, high 30 something second effort. Chris can fly up this. He does it in like 20 something seconds. I think he might be, I don't know. He has a trophy for sure on it. I don't know if he has the KOM, but he has a trophy for sure. I just wasn't feeling it at all. Unfortunately, some years ago, someone lost their life at the top of this as well. If I'm not mistaken, a man had a heart attack right about here and collapsed to the left right there and ended up losing his life, passed away from a heart attack climbing that hill. They used to have a bike there, a white bike, like as a monument, but I guess, I'm guessing the city or somebody moved it. I don't know who moved it. So yeah, that's pretty much the end of the ride. This is San Gabriel River Trail. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll get some more videos out pretty soon.